I'm Willie Hayward for Salem News, reporting on a bright story in a dull U.S. economy. From wheat to wine and why. We are about 50 miles up the mighty Columbia River from the U.S. city of Portland, Oregon, situated between Seattle and San Francisco. Most geologists believe that as recently as 15,000 years ago, during the end of the last ice age, as mile-thick glaciers started melting and retreating from North America, they formed immense ice dams, creating vast lakes behind them. In time, these ice dams exploded, creating gigantic, catastrophic floods. 10 cubic miles of water went racing across the land and down the Columbia River Gorge to the Pacific Ocean at a mile a minute. Just imagine the entire canyon filled with huge chunks of ice, earth, rocks, and floodwater, so high that it splashed over both canyon walls, carving out and creating most of the gorge you see below us now, in less than an hour. The great floods also deposited rich soil along this 40-mile stretch of the gorge, where wine lovers all over the world are just beginning to discover what gorge growers have known for nearly 100 years. That this unique area is one of the best on earth to grow and perfect many varieties of fine wine grapes. The Maryhill Winery and Vineyards is but one of 34 award-winning vineyards and wineries on both sides of the Columbia River Gorge in their own unique two-state AVA-recognized wine region in North America. Let's turn and fly out of the canyon over the rolling hills of wheat farms with Mount Hood and its year-round snow and skiing in the background, where Jack Hay and his wife Sally live on their Oregon farm. They've invested 5 years of their money, blood, sweat, and tears into research and development to turn more than 400 acres of their wheat farm into a vineyard that has been strategically laid out on the rolling hills to produce a large variety of premium wine grapes. Most experts agree that a $200 bottle of red wine starts with the soil. With the world's best grape-growing soil on their rolling hills, a long, warm growing season and an ample supply of pure water from their own wells, and with computer-controlled, high-tech viticultural instruments taking the guesswork out of the fine art of growing premium quality grapes and making great wines for the rapidly expanding wine markets and exploding worldwide demands for truly fine quality wines. Today, Jack and Sally are well on their way on a fast track, turning wheat into wine. But why? Let's land and ask Jack. Oh, there they are now with their horses.
We can have 7 different wineries out here, all with the view of Mount Hood. Just think of 7 different winemakers having the pick of the crop. This is prescription agriculture. Each block has its own fertilizer. You can add your nutrients as you want. It's a low risk for frost damage in the winter, and it's got a long growing season. The soils are just perfect for the soil chemistry and the pH and the soil depth and how it drains. When I laid out this property, it's all laid out for marketing. We have good water. We have one well that produces 1,000 gallons a minute. We have a couple more wells that produce 500 gallons a minute, and that's all we need to irrigate this half section here, 320 acres, is 500 gallons a minute. We've already done that. We've put in the roads, we've packed them, rolled them, shaped them, graded them in. I've had a complete geological soil analysis done on all the properties. So it just happens to have the correct terroir. That is the characteristics for a vineyard. The south slopes are 20 degrees warmer than the north slopes. So you can plant different varieties on the different slopes. We don't have very many days that are above 90 degrees here, so the growing is perfect for grapes, best expressed in wine under certain conditions. Well, Dr. Jessica Cortell knows those particular conditions.
In the Dalles, you can grow a lot of different varieties depending on the specific site and aspect. You could put some white varieties or varieties that need a little bit cooler climate or a little lower heat units on the north side. You could put some later ripening varieties on south-facing slopes that get more heat. So there's a huge range you can plant.
When we're all done with this, She will do a catalog of all the varieties that we have planted here.
Every time I go to the Dalles, I'm surprised at the number of new vineyards going in and the number of new wineries. There's definitely a lot of growth and activity going on there, and it's also, the land is still more affordable. I mean, that's another aspect that is very appealing to me even. You know, when I look at some of the land in the Willamette Valley selling for $30,000 to $50,000 an acre, and then you go out to the Dalles and you can still buy some premium vineyard land for more like $10,000 to $15,000 an acre.
We have the best experts. We know what we're doing. We know how to do it, and we know how to be successful doing it because we've hired those people with experience to do it and do it right.
I'm a professional soil scientist and geologist. I've worked all over the world with wine grapes and other crops. When I made decisions to enter into business with my own vineyard venture, I selected the Columbia Gorge area out of many areas in the Northwest. We have a wonderful array of options, different kinds of soils and different rainfall zones.
In order to produce high quality fruit, the first step is finding a good vineyard site. So you want to find a site that has the potential to produce premium quality fruit. Then the next step is designing the layout and planting the vines in the way that's going to be conducive to high quality. So often heard, but is true, wine is made in the vineyard, and then you can make it or break it in the winery, but it needs to start in the vineyard.
The soils like at Jack and Sally's are perfect. The best thing we can do is to locate our vineyards on sites like Jack and Sally's land, which is up high on the landscape with a convex hilltop and sloping sides where the cold air, when it wants to pool, can fall away to lower elevations, and there's a lot of vertical topographic relief on that land.
You have a lot of control in producing the best possible fruit. You could plant varieties, Italian varieties, Spanish varieties, French varieties, pretty much anything that you choose.
The ability to compete starts with competing with the very best, and that's what I intend to do here.
When you plant a vineyard, I've often heard that you're adding up to $50,000 value per acre. So that's a substantial value addition. Now, it might not always play out exactly like that, but you think about it, it's a great opportunity out in the Dalles because you can get the land more affordably than probably any other wine grape growing area in the world at this point.
The Columbia Gorge area is consistently producing grapes that sell for the very highest value and are put into premium, super premium wines. It's clear that we are competing on the world stage. It's a matter of just continuing to develop our industry and step by step let the world know, how good we are.
You as an investor should be able to create your own labels and do your own thing, and there's a lot of different wines that can be produced here. The opportunity is yours. The profit, I think, is really the bottom line.
In the Columbia River Gorge, I'm Willie Hayward, reporting for SalemNews.com.